Our guest for Touch Base and Soul this week is a photographer with an extraordinary clientele list. He's taken pictures for Johnny Depp, David and Victoria Beckham, Michael Jackson, BTS. The list goes on. He's also been Paul McCartney's personal tour photographer for over a decade. Yes, that Paul McCartney, former member of the Beatles. This glamorous roster of clients rather belies his more humble beginnings, though, growing up in Seoul and barely graduating from high school before making his way to London to study film and eventually turning to photography. To tell us more about his story, I'm delighted to say that we have MJ Kim joining us in the studio. It's a pleasure to have you on the show with us.
Woo! Thank you for having me.
So that's quite a roll call of high-profile names that we've mentioned there that you photographed, and actually it's just scratching the surface. But as I mentioned, you started off studying film in London. So how did you end up in London, and what made you turn to photography?
Okay, so I was going to go to New York to study film, but however, my visa was rejected.
Right, okay.
and then the London, I didn't have any idea about the London, but I just, I made a choice to go to London, and it was the best choice I ever made. Yeah, that's how it, landed in London.
Sure, I've seen some of your other videos that other presentations that you've given, and you talk about how you didn't even go to university here in Korea.
No, exactly.
And then you weren't much of a studier, and you ended up in London.
Yeah, I was more like a party boy than a good student.
Sure, but then why did you decide suddenly to go to London to study film?
Because, one day I had a part-time job at the, broadcasting company in Korea, and I realized it was really great fun. So I was thinking it could be really good fun to have a job as a film producer and a filmmaker, or the TV producer. So that's why I decided to go abroad to study.
Then why did you turn to photography then? Because you were studying film.
That is a very, very good question, because I never dreamed about becoming a photographer in my life at all. But, when I was in first year at school in university in London, my English was so bad because I never studied English, I'm just a normal Korean boy. So, the filmmaking is all the group work. And so I have to debate with my other students, but I didn't understand anything. So I was just being silent all the time, and then I was about to kicked out from my college, and then I had to find something else to gain more my grade. It was a photography. You don't have to speak English. You can do your own work, and then voila, that's how I started.
So it wasn't a choice, it was more like the only choice you had left at the time.
It wasn't a choice at all.
Okay. But then how do you go from studying film, and then getting into photography, and then ending up becoming the personal tour photographer for Paul McCartney? Can you tell us a bit about that journey?
So, yes. So when I started as a photographer, I was in news industry. So basically, I was an intern for a very small news agency, taking pictures. And I really enjoyed it somehow, and one day I saw one of my pictures was published on the Guardian newspaper, and then it made me really proud, and so I work hard as a press photographer, and then around year 2000 that the celebrity world was booming up, so I was doing more and more celebrity pictures, and then I went to Oscars, Cannes, Venice Film Festival to take pictures. And then I got a job from Getty Images. And then there was a big moment I got more international client. And around year 2007, I felt a little bit I felt war. There's nothing I can do more. There was no more challenge within the company.
Right, there was a wall that you wanted to overcome.
Yeah. So I was a little bit bored because I have to do the same things again and again, every year. So I decided to become freelance. And then I left the company without any money in my bank. But luckily, first job I got, it was from the Spice Girls. So I became a Spice Girls tour photographer. I was very lucky. And then after that, I became a friend with David and Victoria Beckham. So after the tour, I kept, my good contact with them. And then the press, the publicist for Spice Girls, he hooked me up with Michael Jackson as well as Paul McCartney. And then now, after 12 years, I'm still with Sir Paul.
Yeah, so tell us about that relationship with Sir Paul McCartney. What's it like taking photographs for him? Were you nervous at first?
I was very nervous. He's the legend. He's the Beatles.
Of course.
But when I pick up my camera, I'm hiding from anyone because I'm hiding from behind of the camera.
Mm-hmm.
So I just can't focus on the little screen I can see, which makes me feel like watching a movie. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's very surreal. But anyhow,
so you're that kind of photographer. You're a fly on the wall where you're hiding from view. Okay.
Definitely. And then also Paul, he's such a nice guy. He's really gentle guy. He just made me feel really comfortable so I can do my work. And he's a great one. He's not only a great musician, but also he's a very nice person.
Sure. Can you tell us a bit about the process? How many pictures of him do you take a day on a tour?
In a normal tour day, I take about 1,500 pictures.
1,500?
Yes,
wow.
because I'm not only taking pictures during the show, I do behind the stage, rehearsal, like meet and greet and everything. So there's about 1,500 pictures, and then I cut down to maybe 50 to 60. And then I, present him to him like following day, and then we sit down together, and we look at the pictures together, and then he say yes and no, and then we make a final selection.
Right, and then I understand you also edit your own photos as well. You work
that's right.
all the way from the beginning all the way to the end. So
it depends on the project. For example, if I shoot big commercial work, then I have a big team, like researcher, assistant. But for that kind of like documentary style, like the music as well, then I do everything on my own. I'm a single person, one-man band.
As you said, you've worked with him for over 10 years now, Sir Paul McCartney.
Yeah.
What's sustained that relationship, do you think? And have you ever wanted to move on? I know it's Paul McCartney, he's a huge legend, but still 10 years is a long time.
It is a long time, but if you think about in the music scene, there's no one I can move on to.
No one higher up than
the Beatles.
No one higher than
the Beatles.
Sure.
And I was really sad when Michael Jackson passed away because he was my hero. I'm that generation. So if there's Michael Jackson still around, maybe I'm consider to work for Michael as well, but nowadays there's no one. And also, Sir Paul, he's not a young guy, so I don't know how many more years he will perform. So I would like to go until finish his journey. Yeah.
There's one moment I would like to mention that I saw in another interview about him telling you when you were having a difficult time with some of the photos that you were taking with him, that you lost a bit of energy. Can you tell us a bit about that story?
So my motivation is always fun, having fun. I have to have a fun to do a good job. So when first second year with Paul McCartney, it was amazing. We're traveling another country, in this private jet, 50,000 crowd, and saw Paul McCartney singing yesterday right in front of me, and that was really thrilling experience. But after about 3 years, I was like, oh my God, there's another show, another same day, like a Groundhog Day. So I'm kind of losing my interest. I'm losing my fun. So I was like looking at someone else's work, like someone shooting Vogue, fashion with a glamorous model. Oh, I wish it was me. So I didn't appreciate what I had at the time. And then Paul, he just instantly he felt it. And then one day, when I was sitting down with him, he said, MJ, your pictures does not make me exciting anymore. What do you think about that? I was like, oh my God.
Wow.
He knew.
Wow.
Yeah. So, that was the moment, I opened up my eyes again. I realized what kind of privilege I have. And then I just about this close to lose all my, that privilege.
That moment must have been so frightening for you. Must have made you so nervous.
It was frightening. It was definitely one of the most scariest moments in my life as a professional photographer.
But then that must have renewed the relationship from
Yes,
there.
and then, I've been working definitely much harder. And a few months later, Paul stopped me, and then he said, MJ, did you change your film? And I was laughing. I was like, "Sir, this is a digital." And he's like, "I know." He's a good joker too. He's
Sure.
he likes having fun.
We've talked about some of the amazing people that you've worked with, but what do you think has drawn these people to you as a photographer? Why do you think you keep getting connected to these amazing artists?
Because I'm very handsome. No, I don't know. No, I have no idea. There's so many photographers out there. I'm not even from US or UK. I'm from Korea. And then I don't understand why I'm keeping getting all this, this good relationship with everybody. I don't know. The most important thing for me is being real and being humble. And I of course everybody do their best job, but I'm trying to be provide the most joyful environment when I'm work, and I don't know, maybe that, but definitely it's not because I'm handsome.
So do you think for you that's your secret for being a good photographer?
Yeah, being real, being humble, and trying to make very comfortable situation, because taking pictures is not easy experience. It's like some my clients saying it's going to see a dentist. So I said, don't worry, I'll make it really short and sweet.
Right. Okay. So that's what everyone wants to hear when they go to a dentist.
Exactly.
So as you mentioned, you're a world-renowned photographer, but you started off studying film. I understand that you recently went back to that original passion and made a film.
That's right.
Can you tell us about that?
So, because of my, the film education, a little bit of education background, I always have a little passion in my heart, being, making a film. So I've been, developing this scenario for the last couple of years. It's based on true story. In 1992, one of sex industry worker in Korea, she got murdered by American soldier. So it's based on the story. And last year, I happened to have exhibition in Singapore. So I went to exhibition, and then there was a guy came to my show, and then he said he's a film producer. So I was like, oh, okay, I like film. And then what kind of film did you make? And he said, Hotel Mumbai. I was like, oh my God, that was my favorite film from last year.
Wow.
So we had a chat, and then I told him I have this movie idea, and then he loved it. So he became my producer, and we made a short film this year. And then I'm getting ready for feature film now.
So you're properly moving into feature films now after the
I'm
short
still haven't finished my scenario yet,
Okay.
but I'm still writing it. I'm on it.
So that's what you plan to continue doing then, making films alongside the photography?
That's gonna be my dream, because making film, you can make film like every 3 years. Director Bong Joon-ho, even he making one film every 3 years. So you cannot make every film every year. So you have some downtime, right? So during the downtime, I would like to take pictures and then make film every 3 years, like Director Bong. That'd be great.
Well, unfortunately, we're already out of time. It was a delight to have you on the show with us today. For our listeners, we'll be putting up some of his photos on our Instagram page, KBS_Korea24, so you can get a taste of his work, and you'll also find out more on his website, mjkimpictures.com. We've been speaking to photographer MJ Kim. Thank you for coming today, and wish you all the best for your photography and film career going forward.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you.